What could you possibly do with an old iPhone? And there are plenty of options, so let's just begin with the most obvious one. So you should definitely sell it. If it's possible and there is a demand for your iPhone, don't hesitate with listing it on eBay and other websites like Craigslist, and there are plenty more depending on where you live. And of course, it's obvious, but make sure to list every possible fault and the exact state of the phone that you're selling, because it's not going to end well if you lie in the ad. And a lot of times, if you're selling on eBay, for example, there is the money back guarantee. So if somebody purchases a phone which doesn't represent the description or is something completely else or doesn't work, then they get their money back and you pretty much are harmed, and you will be affected in the future when selling different devices and stuff. So definitely be honest with an iPhone that you're selling. But other than that, it's definitely a great way to make an extra buck or just to get rid of this iPhone. Another option is to trade it into the Apple Store. Just like a lot of times if you have an old iPhone, that probably means that you would like to get a new one. So if you bring the old one, the amount of the value is going to be subtracted from the price of the new iPhone. So you pretty much get a good deal, and you also get rid of the old iPhone. Of course, some carriers do that as well, so it doesn't have to be the official Apple Store, and it also depends on where you live. But, for example, this iPhone 7 is an old iPhone, and I just went to bring it back to the Apple Store. And it looks kinda okay, it's definitely not new and it's used, but the exact price they offered me for this iPhone 7 was exactly 11 euros. How on earth is this device worth 11 euros? Which is of course just a couple of dollars. And the reason for that there is a little crack on the display, which I personally didn't even notice before bringing it back to the Apple Store. And I of course declined the offer and wanted to do something else with my iPhone. And of course, unless your iPhone that you're selling or trading in is in a perfect condition, or at least isn't cracked like mine, then you're not gonna get a good deal of it. The third option is to go the unofficial way and trading the iPhone in with some third-party companies and providers that are out there on the internet. So we're not talking about the official carriers or the Apple Store, but some other websites that do the same stuff. So for example, sites like Clutter, Swappa, or Gazelle, they want to resell the iPhone that you actually bring them there. So they also want to make sure that it's in a perfect condition, and in the better condition it has, then the more money you're going to get for it. But generally speaking, you're not going to get a lot when you go this route. You're going to get really just a buck for your old iPhone. Also, usually if you go to their website, there is a checker, or you can check in advance how much your iPhone is worth, but a lot of times you think that your iPhone is in a better state than it actually is, according to them, so they have to check it out on their own to let you know if it's okay or not. The next option is to look for someone in the family or in your friend circle, because a lot of times there's always someone in the family who is looking to upgrade their old iPhone. And when you sell or just give it to your old friends or family members, they're usually not gonna be so picky about it, and they're not gonna be talking about some minor cracks and scratches around the housing and the display. It's usually gonna be a better experience because you know each other, and they get a new device, you get rid of the old one, and it usually ends well. So that's another option you should consider. Using the old iPhone as a backup phone is not the worst idea ever. You can have it in a drawer just in case something happens to your main iPhone, you just lost it or something, then you would take out the old one, or perhaps something bad happened, like it cracked or something, then you have the old iPhone just a backup. But you can also use it for something you wouldn't use your main iPhone for. For example, recording in dangerous areas, for example, when you're skiing and you would worry about your main phone, then you can bring the old one. If the camera quality is going to be acceptable, there's no reason to worry about the new iPhone when you have the old one. Docking station of the iPhone is another way you can go, because you could use the old iPhone as a multimedia device for listening to music at home or audiobooks, podcasts and stuff. And while it's on the docking station, that means that it's always on a charge, and you don't really worry about the battery because you don't really use it anyway, so you don't care about the battery health that much. And you can control the entertainment of your home, like you can play music, you can connect it to your speakers, to your HomePods even, and other things around your house to make like a control center from that iPhone. Like you can of course control appliances as well. If you have smart home light bulbs or whatever, then you could use this iPhone for that as well. This kind of goes hand in hand with the previous one, but having a bedside phone is another idea I had. Like, imagine that you have a nightstand alarm clock that you always have around you. Like, you can choose it to be on the airplane mode, like you can schedule it even with the shortcuts. You can use it for the alarm, you can use it for morning readings or checking out social media really quickly, or for whatever you would want to use your alarm clock. Like, it's always a nice idea to have it around you like this. And because in this case you don't really care about the performance, an iPhone which is like a couple of years old is definitely gonna do good for this purpose. I've also heard that some people use their old phones or even their main phones as their dedicated webcam. And there are naturally many or a lot of apps that support it, but the one that I came across is one called Droidcam, and it sounds like it's only for Android, but it's also available on the App Store, so you can use it for your iPhone as well. And you can use a Droidcam webcam on your computer, including sound and a picture, and you can use your iPhone as the camera. So a lot of times the webcams on our PCs are not the best, and the ones on our iPhones, even older ones, are a lot better. So when people are on Zoom meetings and stuff, it could be a useful idea, I guess. Now we are moving on to ideas which are not that common, and a lot less people would actually be willing to do that, but you could, in theory, use your old iPhone as a digital photo frame. Like, you could put it on a wall or into some sort of frame, and every time you look at it, like, it would always be on charge with the cable plugged in, ideally in a way where the cable would not be visible, but you could always see something on the screen as a digital photo frame. Like, iPads are probably better for that in case you have an older iPad, but iPhones could be used for that as well. And the final option or final idea that I have in here in this video is to keep the old iPhone. Like, do you remember when the iPhone, the first one, came out? It was priced quite high for for the time, but during that time the price declined naturally when the new iPhones came out. But after a couple of years, the price of the original iPhone went up again, so it became like a collector's piece. And it is sort of like an antique if you think about it. So if you really want to, you can keep your old iPhone which you have now, which isn't really worth much, with the hope that the price of it is going to go up in the future. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, but yeah, you can do that as well. So these were all of the things that I wanted to share in this video, like all of the ideas that you have or possibilities that you have with an old iPhone. Hopefully you found something valuable in it. And if yes, then leave a thumbs up on the video, and you can also subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. Have a great rest of the day.